Okay, I did it. And okay, so today I like to share my experience of the last few weeks. And to do that, I'm going to share from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we are going to read a verse from chapter 15. But before I go to the verse on chapter 15, I like to set the scene. And so to set the scene, basically, we know the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna has instructed Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And Krishna is giving all transcendental knowledge. And then Arjuna did fight the battle. And after the battle of Kurukshetra, then there was no more coups. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj was established as the emperor of the world. And so where we are at in the Bhagavatam here, in chapter 14, Yudhishthira Maharaj is feeling there is something in the air. There's so many omens that are strange things happening, scary things happening, and is like really bewildered by all those signs and is questioning what is happening. So I will read some of that, and I will read some of the things that Yudhishthira Maharaj noticed, because we can decide if they are relevant to our life today. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, he had sent his brother Arjuna to Dwarka because he wanted to get some news. He was the emperor of the world in Hastinapur with his family. You know, he was reigning over the people, and then he wanted to know. At that time, there was no internet, no Zoom, and so he sent his younger brother Arjuna to visit the Yadu dynasty, to visit Krishna really in Dwarka. And then at this moment, Yudhishthira Maharaj, it's already 7 months that Arjuna left, and then is really feeling a lot of bad omens in the air, in the ether, in like is observing the world, is observing people, and is really like looking at what's happening. So this is chapter 14. The chapter 14 of the first canto of the Bhagavatam is called the disappearance of Lord Krishna. So, Yudhishthira is speaking. He said, a few months passed, and Arjuna did not return. Maharaj Yudhishthira then began to observe some inauspicious omens, which were fearful in themselves. He saw that the direction of eternal time had changed, and this was very fearful. There were disruptions in the seasonal regularities. I guess we can also connect with that. And the people in general had become very greedy, angry, and deceitful. And he saw that they were adopting foul means of livelihood. All ordinary transactions and dealing became polluted with cheating, even between friends. And in familiar affairs, there was always misunderstanding between father, mother, and son, between well-wishers and between brothers. And then he had, even between husband and wife. There was always strain and quarrel. How amazing. And then he continues. He said, in the course of time, it became to pass that people in general become accustomed to greed, anger, pride, etc. Maharaj Yudhishthira was observing all these omens, spoke to his younger brother. So he spoke with Bhima-sen. And then in verse 6, he says that He said, Maharaj Yudhishthira said to his younger brother Bhimasen, I sent Arjuna to Dwarka to meet his friend and to learn from the personality of Godhead of his program of work. So just at that time, Arjuna came back. He came back. And when Yudhishthira saw Arjuna, Arjuna was looking livid, like he was looking like really something wrong was happening for Arjuna. And he was like looking sick, looking whitish, and tears were flowing from his eyes. And so it was reinforcing Yudhishthira Maharaj's sense. And in fact, in the Bhagavatam, he said, his speculation. He was speculating about what was happening. And in fact, his speculation was correct. He was speculating that maybe Lord Krishna had departed from the earth. Lord Krishna has left. He had left the presence of those pure devotees and dear associate of the Lord. And then, of course, Arjuna, like Yudhishthira Maharaj is very interesting because he inquired from Arjuna, and he first inquired like how was it first he inquired about what's happening for you, and he said, did you meet some people that insulted you? Did you get sick? And he said, did you meet a woman of bad reputation, or did you not deal with a woman of good reputation in a proper way? So Maharaj Yudhishthira inquired, he speculated so many things that could have happened to Arjuna, even so he already knows or thinks that he knows. He's kind of speculating in his mind, what's happening to Arjuna and expressed to Arjuna until he until he pointed the finger like, did something happen to Lord Krishna? And that's the last thing he said. And then Arjuna started to respond, like that. And Arjuna starts, after he responded, that's what's happening. The first thing he says is that, like all the things that I took for granted, Arjuna said, all the things that I took for granted, my strengths, my intelligence, my ability to do so many things. He's a big warrior. He fought the battle of Kurukshetra and he was a winner. And he said, like, that's the first place he goes. He goes into lamenting that all his prowess, all his capability, all his abilities, everything is lost. And in fact, when he came back from Dwarka, he was like accompanying, he was trying to protect also Queen of Krishna. And some plunderers, some dacoits, some in fact is the coward boys, they were coward boy dacoits, attacked them. And Arjuna was defeated by some coward boys. Like what a defeat for a Kshatriya who fought so many battles with great warriors to be defeated by coward boys. And so it's like lamenting like that, like all those things I took for granted, but I only had them because of Krishna. In fact, on my own, I have no strength. And then, tears flow from his eyes, and then he starts to remembering Krishna. But as he remembered Krishna at first, he remembered Krishna in a way that's like also kind of lamenting his remembering, like sleeping together and the casualty of their time together. He remembered also how Krishna saved them when they were children, when they were under the care of their mother Kunti. So many times the Kuru tried to kill the Pandavas, and again Krishna saves them. He remembers that time that Durvasa Muni was so angry, and Krishna, because it was, like he could have become angry. Durvasa, we don't want to anger Durvasa Muni because he has very powerful curse. And there was no food to feed him and his entourage. And you remember how the magic of Krishna created so much food to distribute to everyone. So Arjuna remembers so many of his time with Krishna. And of course, he's remembering like when Krishna became his chariot driver, when in fact on the battlefield, he was his chariot driver and he was like throwing arrows and becoming victorious. And that, all that he kind of laments because Krishna left. And we know that, of course, Krishna left. And we know that Krishna never leaves. And in fact, he left and, you know, in 4,500 years of our time, he came back as Lord Chaitanya and he started the golden age. However, when Krishna left, was like the beginning of the age of Kali, the beginning of the age of Kali. And Kali is not going to get better. It's just getting worse and getting worse and getting worse. And my sense is that I don't need to convince you of that. In the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam, there is so much description of Kali and how Kali Yoga is just going down. I'm 58, and in 58 years, I have seen water becoming scarce, water becoming something that people buy in stores, which is really strange, you know, like. And I have seen vegetables losing their taste altogether and becoming like a strange, you know, thing. I've seen food becoming boxes in shelves of stores. I've seen so many things happening just in my short life. So Kali Yoga is advancing and it's getting worse, and it's not going to get better. And whatever comforts we have established, I was discussing that with dear Govinda Prabhu. I was saying, like, you know, Western world for about 70 years, things have been comfortable. You know, of course, even in comfort, we can find ways to create dramas and problems and misery. But basically in the Western world, there haven't been famine, there haven't been wars, there haven't been any terrible anything happening for about 70 years. And I was thinking, this is strange. This is strange. It's something we have taken for granted. I know I've taken for granted. I was born in that 70 years period. So I take for granted that life is easy and comfortable, even so I can create as many drama and as many misery as I can. Still, the reality is that I haven't suffered from not having a roof on my head or no food in my plate. So, you know, like within that Kali Yoga, there is a big current going down, and in the middle of that current, there is the golden age that's rising, and we can see that. I can see that, you know, that as the Kali Yoga is really becoming more manifest right now, that there is also rising of the golden age. I feel the rising of the golden age. I'm very, very excited about it. So, and Lord Chaitanya is there to help us to, so like we, you know, unless we invoke the presence of the Lord, we are going to go down with Kali Yoga. So then Arjuna goes on, and then he takes us to our verse that we are going to go into today. And I'm going to share screen. It's not my computer, so here I found it. And share. Okay, so we are in Bhagavatam. We are in 1st canto. I have my book, chapter 15, and we are going to read from text 27. So we can read text Sanskrit word for word first. Desha, Kala, Artha, Yutani, Tapam, Upasamani. No, because I don't see Upasamani. Aranti, Smarata, Chitam, Govinda, Abhitani, Me, Desha Kalarta Yuktani,
Shakalarta yuktani.
Ritapopashamani cham.
Ritapopashamani cha.
Govindabhitani me. No, avanti smaratas chitam.
Haranti smaratas chitam.
Govindabhitani me.
Govindabhitani me.
Dishakalarta yuktani.
Deshakalarta yuktani.
Vitapopashamani cham.
Vitapopashamani cha.
Avanti smaratas chitam.
Haranti smaratas chitam.
Govindabhitani me.
Govindabhitani me.
Deshakalarta yuktani.
Deshakalarta yuktani.
Vitapopashamani cha.
Vitapopashamani cha.
Avanti smaratas chitam.
Haranti smaratas chitam.
Govindabhitani me.
Govindabhitani me. Deshakalarta yuktani.
Deshakalarta yuktani.
Ritapopashamani cha.
Vitapopashamani cha.
Haranti smaratas chitam.
Haranti smaratas chitam.
Govindabhitani me.
Govindabhitani me.
Deshakalarta yuktani.
Deshakalarta yuktani.
Ritapopashamani cha.
Vitapopashamani cha.
Haranti smaratas chitam.
Haranti smaratas chitam.
Govindabhitani me.
Govindabhitani me.
Deshakalarta yuktani.
Deshakalarta yuktani.
Vitapopashamani cha. Haranti smaratas chitam.
Haranti smaratas chitam.
Govindabhitani me.
Govindabhitani me. Deshakalarta yuktani.
Deshakalarta yuktani.
Ritapopashamani cha.
Vitapopashamani cha.
Haranti smaratas chitam.
Haranti smaratas chitam.
Govindabhitani me.
Govindabhitani me.
Deshakalarta yuktani.
Deshakalarta
yuktani.
Vitapopashamani cha.
Vitapopashamani cha.
Haratani samratas chitam.
Haranti smaratas chitam.
Govindabhitani.
Govindabhitani me.
Deshakalarta yuktani.
Deshakalarta
Yuktani.
Ritapopashamani cha.
Vitapopashamani cha.
Haranti smaratas chitam.
Smaratas chitam.
Govindabhitani me.
Govindabhitani me. Anyone else would like to read the verse 9? Desha, space, Kala, time, Artha, importance, Yuktani, impregnated with, it, the heart, Tapa, burning, Upashamani, extinguishing, Cha, and Aranti, are attracting, Smarta, by remembering, Chitam, mind, Govinda,
Govinda,
the Supreme Personality of Pleasure,
the Supreme Personality of Pleasure,
Abhitani,
Abhitani,
narrated by
narrated by
me,
me,
unto me.
unto me.
Translation by, yeah. Now I am attracted to those instructions imparted to me by the personality of Godhead Govinda, because they are impregnated with instruction for relieving the burning heart in all circumstances of time and space. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Herein Arjuna refers to the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, which was imparted to him by the Lord on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The Lord left behind him the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, not for the benefit of Arjuna alone, but also for all time and in all lands. The Bhagavad Gita, being spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom. It is nicely presented by the Lord himself for all who have very little time to go through the vast Vedic literature like the Upanishads, Puranas, and Vedanta Sutras. It is put within the study of the great historical epic Mahabharata, which was especially prepared for the less intelligent class, namely the women, the laborers, and those who are worthless descendants of the Brahmins, Kshatriya, and higher section of the Vaishya. The problem which arose in the heart of Arjuna on the battlefield Kurukshetra was solved by the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita. Again, after the departure of the Lord from the vision of earthly people, when Arjuna was face to face with being vanquished in his acquired power and prominence, he wanted again to remember the great teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, just to teach all concerned that the Bhagavad Gita can be consulted in all critical time, not only for solace from all kinds of mental agonies, but also for the way out of great entanglement, which may embarrass one in some critical hour. The merciful Lord left behind him the great teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, so that one can take the instruction of the Lord even when he is not visible to material eyesight. Material senses cannot have any estimation of the Supreme Lord. But by his inconceivable power, the Lord can incarnate himself to the sense perception of the conditioned soul in a suitable manner through the energy of matter, which is also another form of the Lord's manifested energy. That the Bhagavad Gita or any authentic scriptural sound representation of the Lord is also the incarnation of the Lord. There is no difference between the sound representation of the Lord and the Lord himself. One can derive the same benefit from the Bhagavad Gita as Arjuna did in the personal presence of the Lord. The faithful human being who is desirous of being liberated from the clutches of material existence can very easily take advantage of the Bhagavad Gita. And with this in view, the Lord instructed Arjuna as if Arjuna were in need of it. In the Bhagavad Gita, 5 important factors of knowledge have been delineated pertaining to 1, the Supreme Lord, 2, the living being, 3, nature, 4, time and space, and 5, the process of activity. Out of this, the Supreme Lord and the living beings are qualitatively one. The difference between the two has been analyzed as the difference between the whole and the part and parcel. Nature is inert matter, displaying the interaction of three different modes, and eternal time and unlimited space are conquered by, are considered, unlimited space are considered to be beyond the existence of the material nature. Activity of the living beings are different varieties of aptitude which can entrap or liberate the living being within or without material nature. All these subject matter are concisely discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. And later, the subject matter are elaborated in the Srimad Bhagavatam for further enlightenment. Out of these five subjects, the Supreme Lord, the living entity, nature, and time and space are eternal. The living entity, nature, and time are under the direction of the Supreme Lord, who is absolute and completely independent of any other control. The Supreme Lord is the supreme controller. The material activities of the living entity is beginningless, but it can be rectified by transferal into the spiritual quality. Thus, it can cease its material qualitative reaction. Both the Lord and the living entity are cognition, and both have the sense of identification of being conscious as a living force. But the living being under the condition of material nature, called Mahatattva, misidentified himself as being different from the Lord. The whole scheme of Vedic wisdom is targeted to the aim of eradicating such a misconception and thus liberating the living being from the illusion of material identification. Well, I need to move maybe. No. Sorry. Make sure we have everything. When such an illusion is eradicated by knowledge and renunciation, the living being are a responsible actor and enjoyer also. The sense of enjoyment in the Lord is real, but such a sense is in the living being is a sort of wishful desire only. This difference is in consciousness. This difference in consciousness is a distinction of the two identities, namely the Lord and the living being. Otherwise, there is no difference between the Lord and the living being. The living being is therefore eternally one and different simultaneously. The whole instruction of the Bhagavad Gita stand on this principle. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord and the living being are both described as Sanatana or eternal, and the Lord's abode far beyond the material sky is also described as Sanatana. The living being is invited to live in a Sanatana existence of the Lord, and the process can help a living being to approach the Lord's abode, where the liberated activities of the soul is exhibited, is called Sanatana Dharma. One cannot, however, reach the eternal abode of the Lord without being free from misconception of material identification. And the Bhagavad Gita gives us the clue how to achieve this stage of perfection. The process of being liberated from the misconception of material identification is called, in different stages, fruitive activities, empiric philosophy, and devotional service, up to transcendental realization. Such transcendental realization is made possible by devoting all the above items in relationship with the Lord. Prescribed duties of the human being as directed in the Veda can gradually purify the sinful mind of the conditioned soul and raise him to the stage of knowledge. This purified stage of acquiring knowledge becomes the basis of devotional service to the Lord. As long as one is engaged in researching the solution of the problem of life, his knowledge is called jnana, or purified knowledge. But on realizing the actual solution of life, one becomes situated in devotional service of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita begins with the problem of life by discriminating the soul from the element of matter and prove by all reason and argument that the soul is indestructible in all circumstances, and that the outer covering of matter, the body and the mind, changed for another term of material existence which is full of miseries. Bhagavad Gita is therefore meant for terminating all different types of miseries. And Arjuna took shelter of his great knowledge, which had been imparted to him during the Kurukshetra battle. Om Agyanatimeram Dasya Gyanajala Shakshu Udmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with a torchlight knowledge now for my senses. And to him, Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamini. Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharini. Nirvaseshya Shunyavadi Bhaskacha Jatarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm going to read the translation of the verse again. Now I am attracted to those instructions imparted to me by the personality of Godhead Govinda, because they are impregnated with the instruction for relieving the burning heart in all circumstances of time and space. So, for relieving the burning heart in all circumstances of time and space. So that means that it's still available for us right now. There is so much to this purport, and I wish I could speak about every pearls and like magical sentencing from Srila Prabhupada. I didn't take enough time to prepare for that class, and I mainly wanted to get out of my cave today to share my experience, which I think do relate to this purport. And so I choose this purport as a support for me to go into sharing myself and my experience for the last few weeks. Arjuna, again, he was remembering the Lord and everything he did with the Lord, but he was still in a lamentation until that verse. And when he came to that verse, he realized, oh, just remembering Krishna, remembering the instruction of Krishna is enough, and it will cover any problems that I have. Of course, and we look at the problem earlier. I was speaking about Arjuna. First, he lamented that he lost all his abilities, and then you know, like seeing that he's not capable to do anything. Things that he took for granted was taken away from him. And then in a purport, Prabhupada said, yes, like that's our condition, that everything is controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it means everything in the life, everything in our life individually or globally, that there is no mistake in the universe. And so we are being faced by a different situation. And I know that when that different situation came to us, the pandemic and all that, a part of me was kind of excited about it. A part of me really got excited about it. And then a part of me was judging myself for being excited about it, because I found like maybe it wasn't compassionate for the people who got sick. And then, I'm reflecting on what's happened for me. I've been really contemplating and reflecting for the last week and a half or 2 weeks.
Madam,
Contemplating throughout.
excuse me, would you take the screen share off so we can see you more?
Oh, I see. Stop. I found out how to do it. I don't think I ever did that before. So that's where I was at when the pandemic came. I said, well, yes, things need to be checked out of status quo. Because in the West, there is some kind of status quo comfort. Like people like, you know, I remember years ago, I looked at a video I was sharing with my roommate, a video of people in a third world country sharing tweets and social media comments from the first world country. Like, oh, you know, today I didn't find what I wanted at the store. Or today, you know, someone, whatever, different example. And it sounded so trivial that like people are so absorbed in trivial things that they don't realize the real misery of life. And Prabhupada points that out in his purport, that there is a real misery of life, is birth, death, old death, and disease. And because we are becoming so comfortable, and I'm speaking for myself, kind of those become like the background, but they are not really in the foreground much of the time. They're not in the foreground. So when that panic came, I thought, well, it's a great opportunity to bring all that to the foreground, to bring the real problem of life in the foreground. And and I felt like, it's funny because, anyway, I gave a workshop to coaches, and I started my workshop with saying like, yes, things are going on, things are going to get worse and worse. And I have that conviction that it's just the beginning, it's not the end. And there's so much enlightenment happening on the planet right now. At the same time that Kali Yuga is going down, at the same time, to the degree that it's going down, the golden age is also rising. And there is so much enlightenment now. Like, I see people are questioning their life. They are questioning, what am I doing? Why I'm doing what I'm doing? But people are questioning, like, they are looking at the real problem, like disease and death right now, very prominently. And they are also seeing like, is it really, what's really the purpose of life? And also questioning like ideas that I thought I was in control. You know, I know how to get money. I know how to get food. I know I can enjoy. I can go to the restaurant. I can go party with my friend. Like, people are questioning, like, am I really in control? Because any moment I can be crushed. Any moment, anything can happen to us, and we can be completely crushed. So I see the beauty in that. I see so much enlightenment or potential for enlightenment in what's happening in the world. And at Brahma Vigyasa, spiritual life starts with questioning, am I really in control? Because according to what's happened the last few weeks, I am not. I was taking it for granted that I can go to work every day. I cannot go to work anywhere anymore. I've taken for granted that I can escape my children. They go to school and I don't need to deal with them. That's something I took for granted too. It's not true anymore. So many things that people took for granted that are not true anymore. And that's, you know, that's a mercy, the mercy of the Lord. So I don't know where to start to share my experience, but anyway, about 4 weeks ago, little less than 4 weeks ago, I realized I wasn't very well. I realized that I wasn't very well. There's something was happening in my body. And then, you know, for the last 4 weeks, it's manifested into me not being able to breathe. I still have problem to breathe. And it manifested in, you know, belly problem, and also manifesting in some days not being able to do anything, but basically like chanting 16 rounds being the biggest achievement of the day. So at the beginning, I found that was what's most difficult. In fact, the most difficult was the beginning. And the most difficult at the beginning wasn't so much that I was getting sick and I could imagine that it will get worse. But the most difficult was to let go of functioning the way I was used to function. like let go of, like the first thing I did is cancel my appointment with Dominic. We had scheduled an interview and it was so hard, so hard. The part of me was saying, no, that's my responsibilities, that's my service. I'm committed to Dominic. It's a topic I want to speak about. It's a topic that's so important for the world to hear about. I just was behind Dominic's idea. I thought it was great. I was preparing for it. And then, so that was such a difficult thing to say, like, well, no, Dominic, I'm not going to do that interview. And then next, like, seeing like, yeah, no, there's so many things. I need to take care of myself. And Dominic, she was really kind. She sent me 2 letters that I tried to print, but the printer didn't work. So I'm going to summarize. When I sent that to Dominic, Dominic sent me 2 quotes from Prabhupada, where Prabhupada said, your priority is to take care of your health. That's your service. That's your service, to take care of my health. So I was forced to let go and surrender, forced to be very neglectful, extremely neglectful. I see myself how neglectful I've been of so many of my responsibilities, responding to emails timely. I let down so many people by not responding to their email timely. I let down my client by canceling my session. I let down so many people. I really let down so many people. And that was the most difficult of that adventure I experienced. And I want to apologize to that. I want to apologize to all those who have been feeling neglected and maybe, carry some withhold with me. And because I did make that choice to let go completely and to surrender. And in fact, I developed a really special clear intention. I was sharing with my roommate again that I didn't have, and I still don't have a clear intention to get well. And what I've had is a clear intention to surrender. What I had is a clear intention to be responsible, to do my duty, to do what's in my power to do. What I've had is those clear intentions throughout those 4 weeks. And I discovered such a nice way of living through that experience. Because what I discovered is that in being in those intentions, first I felt really held by the Lord, very held. And I was held by the Lord, not in the consciousness that nothing is going to happen to me, not at all. In fact, a part of me was thinking, yeah, maybe at one point I will not be able to stand up. Maybe at one point my roommate would decide to take me to the hospital. Even so, I told them not to do that. Maybe I will die. And in having those thoughts, all I could think is a cradle. I was just thinking of cradle. Like no matter what I'm going to go through, it really doesn't matter. What's the matter if I die now or if I died in 30 years from now? What's the difference really? There's a story of Lord Chaitanya with Kulaj Sridhar. He's a Brahmin and he's really poor. He lives in Bengal, where there is West Bengal, there is banana trees everywhere, yeah? And his business that he sells banana trees, leaves, plant. So we can imagine how cheap, whatever he's making is, and then it's so available. So he's very, very dirt poor. But he's dirt poor, but he's the wealthiest and the more rich person in the universe because Lord Chaitanya, in his younger age, pastime, he will visit him every day and he will go and tease him. And so he had a hut, and his hut had holes on it. So every time there was a rainy season, it will rain on his bed, inside his house, inside his hut. And then Lord Chaitanya and people were saying, well, why don't you fix your roof? So what's the point of fixing my roof? What's the point? It's so temporary anyway. What's the point of spending time fixing my roof? Because anyway, this hut and myself, we are going to disappear so soon anyway. So I was thinking of that a lot too. So Devi Shaguna Mai Mama Maya Dvataya. So it's like Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, because that's what the purport is about, is like the material energy is very, very difficult to overcome. So difficult. It's made of the three material modes. Material modes are ropes, and we are entangling those ropes, and there is nothing we can do about those ropes. And it's so difficult to overcome. But, you know, for one who surrender unto Krishna, he says, if you surrender unto me, then very easily you can cross that ocean of misery. And so in retrospective, I'm looking at the experience of those 4 last week, and I found it so beautiful, so beautiful. And because I'm here with all of you, and because, I want to share myself, I also like to acknowledge people in my life. I already acknowledged Dominic, and Dominic very early on, because I had that meeting with you, I had to share, you had to hear me cough on the phone when we spoke. And so you have been there, and those quotes were so like relieving of like, okay, I can let go. I can, that's okay. My clients are going. I was ready that nobody will ever speak to me ever again. I was ready that my clients will just like, wow, what kind of coach is that? She's not even responding to my email. She's canceling my session. I don't want a coach on that level. I was ready for all that. And I just like, whatever, like Draupadi, she's here. Draupadi, she's here, and she's my mentor for so many years. That's why she's in my temple room in a prominent place, because whatever, if I'm naked in front of all those men, whatever. Let me be naked in front of all those men. Let me be embarrassed. Let me be completely humiliated. Let me be completely humiliated. That whatever. So Dominic, thank you very much for being like the one who like helped me over that edge that I was into, like holding down to my sari, holding down that I need to be doing my service properly, even though I cannot do it. And just, okay, that's okay. And so I want to acknowledge you for that. And it was very special. And why am I at it also? I want to acknowledge that my household wasn't a gloomy household. Nobody ran away when they saw that I wasn't breathing, and those saw that maybe I had that bad disease that everybody is speaking about. They didn't run away. They didn't, even so I ran away. I decided, okay, I'm going to quarantine myself in my room. After, I don't know, a few days, they said, no, don't come with us. And then the only 2 times I really felt I was dying, it was the only 2 times I felt I was dying. It's just of laughter, because we had so much fun. The household was so full of laughter and kirtan and Krishna consciousness, and it's still like that. And my hope is that it's going to continue to be that way. And so I want to acknowledge and thank you, Narayan, for almost killing me with your jokes. And I want to acknowledge Izzy for keeping such a light, beautiful, sadvic attitude through all of it, and not run away. And I appreciate that, because you could have chosen that very much. And then so I want to share more about that. Doing like not being attached to the result of getting better. And that was true for me, and it's still true for me. I'm 85% recovered. I still have a big pressure on my chest. Sometimes it's difficult to breathe. Sometimes I feel I need oxygen, all that. But what I want to share that, so I was in that consciousness. I reflect, I'm reflecting on my experience of my consciousness, what's happened. And so I was in that consciousness that I wanted to surrender, and really feeling that cradle with the Lord, that it doesn't matter what will happen. I was ready for it. I was ready to be super sick in bed, dying. I was ready. I was whatever. and at the same time being responsible. And in the purpose of Srila Prabhupada highlights the principle of responsibility, because I had a responsibility. I had a responsibility to take care of my health, but not holding to the result, without result. So I had a responsibility. And in that consciousness, what's happened is really quite miraculous and magical. And I'm sharing today, and part of the reason I want to share is to inform you, because I have been kind of secretive with the community. I haven't been sharing myself. I didn't want to share myself, mainly because I didn't want people to worry about me or to focus on the COVID-19 thing and think I have that, or I wanted people to continue to focus on Krishna. So I got myself out of the way to make sure I don't divert that. And so that's the reason I'm sharing, because I'm getting out of my cave and I want to apologize. And the other reason I'm sharing is to create a landmark for me, to create a samskar, because I want to remember the way I lived my life and the way I want to continue to live my life through that experience. Because I want to share my realization also, that through my clear intention to surrender and to remember Krishna, my clear intention to be responsible and to do what's in my power to do day to day, and to be responsible to do my service, which was to take care of that thing, body and mind, intelligence, and of course my spiritual life. I had a really magical experience that I felt very guided throughout. I felt guided what to take, what to eat, what to do, how to do it. I wasn't perfect, but I really felt so much guidance. And I will give a few examples of the magic, because it was quite magical. So at one point, I took a lot of things, but I was still gasping for air. And even I had a few experiences of feeling extreme confusion, extreme confusion, extreme feeling bewildered, having strange thought that I'm not sick when I was really sick. It was really strange. Anyway, it was really strange. And then at one point I realized, well, I need to test my oxygen level. I was, one thing I was determined is to not go to the Western doctor, because most of the time I don't trust them, but right now I trust them even less, because they think they know and they seem to really not know anything. And they are incapable to understand that saying I don't know will be way better for the world than pretending to know. So, so I told my roommate, well, I need an oximeter. And then I said, okay. And I told Dominique too, I sent an email. She said, what do you need? I said, I need an oximeter. And then I sent one text to someone who also knew. There was 7 people who knew what was going on in my life. So another person, family member. And believe me or not, but within less than 2 hours, there was an oximeter in front of my door. And you can see that, wow, what's special about that, you can just go to CVS or Walgreens. But the reality is that CVS, Walgreens, and Amazon were out of oximeter at that time, out of stock. No possibility even to go to a pharmacy or anywhere to buy one. So it's quite magical to think about it. And that oximeter, I got it from a devotee who sent it to that person who doesn't even know me. And I still have it. I ordered one, but it's taking time to come, I guess. And so within 2 hours on the oximeter. And then I decided, I think that day I tested my oxygen, it was 93 or something like that. I said, I need oxygen. And then I contacted my daughter, she's a nurse. She said, oh, you cannot have oxygen without going to a doctor. And then I made research to go to a doctor, but because I'm out of the loop of the system, there is no place for me in the American system of healing. I don't have insurance, I don't have a primary care provider. In a situation like now, there is no way, like there is no hoops to even go through the hoops. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist here. Calling a doctor, they say, no, we don't want to take you. you need to go to the Department of Health. They will take care of you. Call the Department of Health. They say, oh, well, you're not sick enough for us to test you or take care of you. You should have 100. If you have 104 fevers, then we will take you. So that was the situation. But I'm really so grateful for that. So grateful. So grateful that I was in that category of people. So anyway, so I received the checker and then I said, I need oxygen. If I have oxygen, I know I can get through that. I just need oxygen. And again, it's not my intelligence that said I need oxygen. That's not my intelligence who guided me to take different herbs. It's not, of course I did research, but I felt it was coming from a deep place within. And so I put out, I need oxygen. I need oxygen. And within less, I think 12 hours, there was an oxygen machine in my office, which is miraculous. I didn't even know you could get an oxygen machine outside of a hospital or outside of a system. Now I know it's possible. So I tell you all, don't believe what you hear, because you can rent an oxygen machine or you can even buy, and the lowest cost, I think, is $200, something like that. So that was a miracle that was created by Eze, my roommate. My roommate just took it on, okay, I'm getting an oxygen machine. And then his family have 2 oxygen machines, and they not only have 2 oxygen machines, delivered it, like here, delivered it, and they took the risk to be around us, far away. We knew we potentially were dangerous. So that's the way I want to live my life. I want to live my life in a way that I surrender. And my only clear intention is to surrender to the Lord. And as I'm surrendering to the Lord, I'm doing what's my responsibility to do, taking care of the things that are in my power to do, to do my responsibility, to do my duty. My prescribed duty was to take care of my health, and then to see all those magical moments happening. And there were so many others like that, constantly. I'm living with my roommates. It's just magical, just living with them. Like, it's just so joyful what we have been experiencing for months and a half. We don't want that to end. We don't want the pandemic or the close down. We don't want that to end at all. Anyway, and what I'm grateful for is that young 27-year-old me, Marie Glashine, I'm so grateful for her because of the commitment she made. She was young, like beautiful, cool. I was even cool, popular, could do so many things, travel the world, play music in bands, all that cool things that the world was our playground. Everything was coming to her like the world was her playground. And I'm so grateful for that person that she decided to let go of all that, to commit to follow 4 regulatory principles and chant 16 every day, and study and follow Srila Prabhupada's instruction. I felt so grateful because I felt that sense of being so ingrained in those habits of sadhana bhakti, being so ingrained in that philosophy that I didn't experience fear. I experienced some fear, but maybe I will express later, but it wasn't fear of dying or fear of the disease. The main fear I experienced is to not do my duty or not do my responsibility or make a wrong decision. And I did experience that fear and I walked through it. But like, it's an interesting thing that I discovered also, is that my mind, my conscious mind, my mind, is always engaged in like useless, idle talk, like meaningless, useless talk about nothing that matters really. But I discovered that there is a deeper mind within me. That's an experienced mind. It's like, it's difficult to describe. It's not a mind, it's not a chatter, it's like a deeper mind that is experienced. that's so even like water, like so settled and clean and clear and doesn't move from like, yeah, trusting like, yeah, Krishna can take everything. It's just another experience. And why not? If it takes me to the lotus feet of Krishna, why not? And also, what's the big deal? It's going to be temporary. It's going to last for a while. We were speaking with one of my roommates. We were speaking about time with Narayan also, because he gave his class about time. And so many times I can see in my life I've been absorbed in dramas that seemed like all in all, that there was nothing else. But if I look back, they are so insignificant. So why putting any significance to anything beside the service of the Lord, beside remembering the instruction that Krishna gave to Arjuna, that are good for every space and time, meaning there is no time that we are lost. We have the power to be like Arjuna in his great time of distress, like he was really in distress. He lost a battle against coward boys. We can just be completely done with it by remembering the instruction and remembering the form and remembering like Narayan dressed Gaunitai on the Ekadasi. When was Ekadasi? Day before yesterday. And they are so beautiful. You know, just sitting and watching their beauty is enough. The process of Bhakti Yoga is so simple. Just sitting in front of the deity and bathing our eyes with the form of the deities is enough. Chanting Hare Krishna, we may be absorbed or not absorbed, is also enough. The word, the name of the Lord is absolute. So that's what I wanted to share, that it seems like a beautiful way to live lives, that I wanted to create a samskar. And I'm going to continue to express gratitude to people that meant a lot for me in this adventure. So I express to Dominic those quotes or presents, my roommates that are still amazing. So amazing, and that's we're all part of the magic. Oh, it was so much magic. And also I want to express about my friend Kim, because my friend Kim took a stand for me. Because at the beginning, I was really convinced I wasn't sick. And I'm still, to some extent, there is a part of me that tells me that I'm not sick. This is a really weird disease because I experienced cold, I experienced flu, I experienced so many things, but what I'm experiencing in my body has nothing to do to anything I experienced before. So it gives my signal to my brain, you're not sick, because my brain already have accumulated what 6 mean. Okay, 6 mean when you're sick, it means these things. But these things are not present. And that, Dear Govinda pointed that out to me because I would tell him again and again, I'm not sick. He said, well, you're not sick the way you know to be sick. And so I want to thank you, Kim, being like so supportive. Kim is still making, every time I share something with Kim about one of my symptoms, I've been out of the loop. Like I don't spend much time on the internet or even looking about what people are saying about. I'm not, you know, I don't even know what I have, but I have symptoms. So Kim, every time I tell her a symptom, she look into it and she's telling me. And then Kim, I've been connected with a nurse within Tampa. And that nurse in Tampa, her service right now is to take care of people with COVID-19. Is that amazing? So at one point, I became super weak. And I think, Kim, you saved my life. Kim and Lizzie Clean, both of you saved my life there. Or not my life, but saved me out of going down. Like, I think I would have gone down way worse. So at one point in my adventure, it was like such an adventure journey. I felt really a lot of weakness in my limbs. Like it felt like someone poured lead in my arms and legs. And I noticed that even typing on a computer felt effort. Usually it's quite effortless to type on a computer, but it was so much effort. Or carrying a cup like of water was effort. I was still a little bit. But yeah, one point is we were in the kitchen and I wanted to cook something and I had a butternut squash. And I started to cut it and I said, Izzy, I cannot do that. I cannot cut the butternut squash. I'm like Arjuna. I'm how you say, defeated by a butternut squash. Things that, you know, we may take for granted in our life, like Arjuna was taking for granted. I felt defeated by I felt defeated by a butternut squash. And so it was really there, I felt really down. Like I was laying down in the temple room, I was laying down in my office, I was laying down in my bed, I was kind of laying around and I had so little energy and I was thinking, I don't know what to do. And it's not getting better. And then Kim figured it out. Kim, Lizzie Kim, two people that were in my life at the time. They figure it out. They say, wow, that disease that I don't have, but we think I have. Remember, I don't have it, but we think I have it. This mysterious disease. It makes the blood very thick. In fact, the blood has no oxygen into it. It makes the blood very thick. And they give blood thinner at the hospital to people who have that disease that I don't have. And then the nurse said, if you drink, and then Lizzie Kim, who is my Eastern doctor, natural doctor, said, you need to drink. So I started to drink and I told my roommate, I said, remind me to drink. Because I was already drinking, you know, I know that when you have a cold or flu, you drink. So I was already drinking a good amount, but I tapped that, just like drinking all day, non-stop drinking. And within, I would say 12 hours, I felt better. And then since that, my state has been improving. I'm continuing to drink constantly and my state has been improving. And that's Kim. Kim has been right there telling me, you have COVID-19. And I needed that somehow, because my brain was telling me I'm not even sick. So I don't know if I have COVID-19, but by having Kim constantly standing there, it was so much support. And yesterday, Kim and I, we had a call, and I was still telling her, I don't know what I have. She said, we are a poster child of him. She said, you're a poster child of that disease. Anyway, I didn't get fever, so, and my women are not sick, so I don't know. But the adventure I went through is true, so I'm standing by my experience. Like sometimes, you know, like we need to justify our emotion. I was speaking with a client yesterday, and the tendency is that if I feel angry, I need to have a good reason to feel angry. So I will find a justification to be angry. Yeah, because I'm not able to acknowledge my experience that I'm angry and own it. It's so simple. I need to justify it, and then the justification creates the trauma. And so it's a little bit like that. I need to own my experience that I have been sick. And in fact, I can show my face today because my face looked normal since a few days. You know, yesterday was really the first day I look at myself. I say, you look normal. But some days I was really not looking normal. My roommate can tell you it wasn't a very pretty sight. And yeah, so I want to acknowledge Kim as being such an amazing friend, spending so much time helping me and supporting me and being an instrument of Krishna to reveal to me what I needed to do and how I needed to take care of myself and be serious also. I will not have been as serious without Kim taking care of my situation. Thank you, Kim. And last but not least, I want to thank you, dear Govinda. Dear Govinda, being such a rock. You rocked. You are being such a rock in so many ways. Dear Govinda took all the slack of my clients. I will write to my client, I'm not available, I'm not well, I'm unwell, I will say, I'm unwell, I'm not available. But dear Govinda, if you want to do a session, you can do a session with dear Govinda. And then a lot of things like he was asking me to do, like we always have actions and I will not do. Like not even respond to email. I've been slacking. I've been neglectful. I have been, and dear Govinda, I've been so, Prabhu, you have been so patient with me and so available for me. And you have been taking on so much on top of already your full schedule of services there, and it's been amazing. Plus we are developing that course together, and there's so much, and I appreciate you so much for that. But what I appreciate you the most, for has been how solid you have been, taking a stand, very similar to Kim. The two of you, you were so similar, taking a stand that I have COVID-19 and it's serious and I need to take it seriously. Because so many times I reveal my mind to you, like, I don't even know if I'm sick, I don't know, I'm confused or whatever. And you have been a rock solid person like him to tell me, no, you're serious, it's serious, you need to take it seriously, continue to take it seriously. And I appreciate, because, you know, like seeing what's happening from your right this minute and how difficult it is to speak, I know that I have been sick, and I know that I needed that. I needed the way you have been. So solid, supportive, like a rock I could lean on any moment during that journey. And by leaning on that rock, so that I could just focus on Krishna. I knew what's my responsibility, I know what I need to do, and focusing on clear intention to be clear intention to surrender to the Lord. I'm sorry, I look at the time, the last time it was 8:45, and I thought I had more time to speak, and now I'm looking and it's way past 9:15, so I apologize for taking so much time. And Hare Krishna, thank you, devotees. We can open for a few minutes of comment, question about the verse. I'm going to read the verse again because it's so amazing. Now I am attracted to those instructions imparted to me by the personality of God and Govinda, because they are impregnated with instruction for relieving the burning heart in all circumstances of time and space. Hare Krishna. Thank you. I'm grateful for all of you in my life. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Question, comments?
Well, Malini, it's Kim. I just want to say it's been a joy watching. I'm just enjoying watching you and seeing that you are doing better. There's no doubt. And I appreciated the story so much because there were some details I didn't even realize, like your example with Draupadi holding on to. I didn't realize you were holding on to, worrying about your duty so much. And, I just didn't realize that at the beginning. And I'm so glad you were able to let it go and give up. And then to see the little miracles that happen, big miracles that happen through Krishna, through your story. It was just really beautiful. So thank you so much for talking today. I feel like it was a struggle. I kept wanting to cut in and say, can I read the purport? It was watching that whole thing. But anyway, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Kim. So I'm so you in my life. And I'm it took you to come to our programs. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
I
love them. Thank you, Mom.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Boss.
Thank you all. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna.
for sharing.
Of course, Srila Prabhupada is at the core of all that. Hi, Yvonne.
Hare Krishna.